Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to a new live stream on this channel. Yes, we don't have many live streams over here lately, but we are here today to talk about a new radio that I recently purchased and have been looking at, and I thought we'd share that today. We'll take a look at it. So today's subject is, of course, the JINGTONG JT-3988. Now, I have to remind myself of what it's called because I keep leaving that first G out and calling it a JINGTONG or a JINTONG instead of a JINGTONG. But anyway, digressing there, I found this radio for $40 over on Amazon recently. And let's see if we can get that better on the camera. There we go. All right. So I found this radio on $40 on Amazon, and it looked bigger, actually, in the picture than what it actually is. Now, I'm not complaining about that because I like the radio overall. All right, so just as a comparison, size-wise, this is the, next to it, of course, I'm going to set this is the RT730 here, and you can see that this is this JINGTONG is a lot smaller. But it's comparable in size maybe to the RT-463, or maybe even the, it's actually a little bit bigger, although than the GM55, width-wise. It's a lot thicker. Okay. And that does have to do with the battery. Okay. So let's talk about this. First of all, I ordered it. Now, I ordered it from Amazon. Link is in the description over there. Now, ordering it from Amazon, like I said, it's $40. Well, what does it come with? Well, it comes with a programming cable, an external handheld microphone, which, by the way, if you purchase, be sure to note that it will be underneath the plastic insert, so you actually have to lift the insert up, and it'll be underneath there. Is where they put that in there. Also has a base stand charger, although this is USB-C chargeable, and it has a nice little cover on the USB-C charge port on the bottom, which is something I like. Okay. Also comes with your standard, of course, the wall adapter for the USB plug, the belt clip, hand strap, and two antennas. One is a, where did I put it? Oh, right behind me. There we go. One of which is on the antennas. One of which is the small, like 8-inch whip antenna. I mean, these are the little whips, but they're good antennas. Now, of course, this antenna, we're going to talk about it in a minute, also comes with the antenna that you see on it, which is a diamond antenna, an 805S antenna to be exact. That's SRH 805S. Anyways, like I said, it's a nice little radio. I thought it was actually going to be a little bit bigger, looking at it in the image, than what it is. Now, it's a 10-watt radio with a 2600 milliamp hour battery. Of course, it's listed as a ham radio. However, I'd like to point out that this is a completely unlocked radio. So for those that are preparing for the end of the world, this might be something for you. Now, I like the unlocked radios because if something were to happen, you know, you have a radio that's not going to be bound by anything. Of course, this does have limited range of what you could transmit on, and I've not fully looked at all that. However, you know, high end is goes up to 520 or 519 on the high side, and low side, of course, it will go 137. But below that, of course, actually goes into airband too. So you can do airband receive, not airband transmit. Keep that in mind. This covers VHF and UHF frequencies. So that includes your frequencies such as your 2 meter, 1.25 meter, the 70 centimeter, which means GMRS, FRS, and even MERS. So those are just frequencies that are covered in it. It comes in I want to point out, it comes in a really nice box. I'll tell you, the box to it is really nice. I mean, for the price, you know, normally when you receive a radio, it comes in just a brown cardboard box. That's what most of mine come in. But this one here, you know, it's real nice. It's got the embossed lettering on it and everything. Really nice. Okay. Now this one has the only storage for it is 256 channels, which is really, it's more than enough. For me, it's more than enough. Usually on a radio, I have 30, 40 channels, maybe, on any given day. But 256 channels is what it is. You've also got, we'll take a look here on the radio at a few things real quick. First of all, you have one of the things I like the most on a radio, and that is our channel knob up here. Being able to change the channel with the knob, especially if you're using an external mic, and I use a belt. I use a case on my belt for a radio, not a belt clip. I have some radios that I have belt clips on, but most of the time I would prefer to actually just have it in a case. But say you have your external microphone hooked up and you want to change the channel, well, it makes it easy when you don't have to pull it out to do it, and you can just click over. Also, of course, you've got your channel volume knob there. Over here, you'll have your standard K1 connector for accessories, external microphone, or programming cable if necessary, which is necessary. And we're going to talk about programming in a moment. Okay, on the other side, of course, you have your PTT button. Reminder, if you're not licensed to use a radio, don't press that button. Okay, you have to say those things, One of those things, you got to say it. 2 programmable side buttons. On mine, I usually have FM radio and NOAA weather radio, and then scan function below it. I like to have the push button to weather radio. I find that to be very useful. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about, first let's get into power output. Let's discuss that real quick. Covering power output on this radio. The power output on this radio is listed at 10 watts. On VHF, you get a little over 9 watts. And on UHF, you're going to bounce between around 8 to 9 watts. That's actually good. I don't have a problem with those numbers. Now, the stock antenna, we'll start with the little whip here. I know you can't really see that well, but we can do it on the other camera. The whip antenna, the little whip. Keep forgetting I have 2 cameras there. Okay, so the little whip antenna over here it's a good antenna. The SWR on it is about 1.5, 1.5, so it's not bad. Works out real well. That's just my quick little testing there. We'll have a shorter video on just the power output and stuff later on. Okay, of course, the SWRs. Now the stubby antenna here. I love stubby antennas. They're one of my favorites. Is the stubby antenna because it just keeps out of the way. And one of the things is when you've got this on your side, you want as few things poking you as can be. Now, the tall rubber ducky antenna, like on some radios, you get stuck in the side. That's not really that comfortable. The whip antenna can be a nuisance when you're reaching around. You're moving your arm and you got the little whip antenna rubbing against you and throw you off. So I do like the stubby antennas. Now, I've gotten stubby antennas just like this before, made by TID Radio. They were horrible on the SWR. Now, this stubby antenna, oddly enough, the SWR on the VHF is not that great. However, on the UHF, it is comparable to the whip antenna that it comes with. So, it is a workable antenna, and it's usable. Now, with the little stubby antenna on simplex, you get about a half-mile range in an urban area. I'm in a pretty urban area, sort of. Well, suburban, but I've got a lot of trees. And there's buildings, so half-mile. No line of sight to where I'm hitting, but I got about a half-mile. Repeater tower is a lot further away, and I can hit it with no problem, but of course it's elevated. We've got actually more than one repeater tower, so hit them. Even with the stubby antenna standing in the right spot, because sometimes you have to move, I can hit repeaters that are 20, 30 miles away. So, it's a good radio, good antennas that it comes with. Now, it is not chirp compatible. It's not listed on chirp, and that's fine. But I did see on Amazon one of the bad reviews, and there was a bad review on there. Not a lot of reviews overall, But one of the reviews on there was a negative review, and I was looking at it because this is something that doesn't really bother me because one, I can program a radio from the keypad, so it doesn't bother me. But the issue here was this person said the product cannot be programmed. No software available for this radio. Well, that's not true. There is software for the radio, and I've added the link to the software in the description as well, so that if you purchase the radio, you can download the software. Now, it's a proprietary software, but it's a standard CPS software, so it's easy to use. And if you've used one, you can use any of them. Yeah, you're manually going to have to put in all of your stuff. You can't really import, obviously, because it's their own CPS. But hey, you know what? It works. So you can import your radio, or you can't import, but you can easily type in everything and program it in. And it's not very hard to do. It takes just a few minutes. Now, when I was testing this radio, one of the things I ran into was a problem because the other radio I was testing to was pre-programmed, but so we were testing in different channels, different frequencies, if you will, and on one of the frequencies that was programmed in, that I had programmed in, I couldn't get any signal to them. And I was curious as to why. Why is there not being a signal sending or receiving? So I had checked so I did what anybody would do. I put it in VFO mode. I typed in the frequency manually. Boom, it was working. Well, one of the things is when you type in frequencies on a computer quickly, sometimes you miss a number. And boom, that was the issue there. And of course, it's a quick fix. You go in and you fix it. So be aware that when you type in frequencies, double check them. That's just a simple thing. Just double check them as you go. Now, let's take a look here on the radio. Turn this on a minute. It's got its nice little logo there. Oh, let me move this screen so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay. It's got its nice little screen there. Let's go into menu. Okay. Oh, y'all can't. Forgot you can't see with this. The screen is so bright on here that can't really make it to where y'all can see that. Okay, well, we were going to look at the menu on here, but the menu layout is the same. The screen is a nice blue color. Let's see here. Maybe we can get it on the other camera. Can we get that over there? No. Okay, this is a bright screen, but you can't really, and of course, it's not going to be great outdoors. But indoors, great radio. Great screen. Okay, so on the menu, of course, if you're outside, you've got a channel knob. You don't need to look at the screen. Simple way to look at that. Especially if you have the voice on so you can hear what's doing. So as I said, the menu is your basic standard menu. You've got your squelch, your step, your power, tri-power, high, middle, or low. You've got your battery saver. Do you want normal or super? You got box. Stay away from box. Nobody wants to voice activate the radio. It's not my thing, at least. Yeah. You've got dual standby, on or off. Pick one. Okay, you've got, of course, your tones. So, you need your tones there. You can actually manually input and edit channel names on this radio. You can't do that on a lot of older radios, but you can on this one, which I do like. Roger beep. You've got your bandwidth selection. Let's see here what else we've got here. You got keytones, you got language. You got all your basic things. You can program your side keys from the radio. Everything that you really want to do from the software, you can actually do from the radio. Takes a little bit longer if you're programming the frequencies, but you can actually do that too. And it's all the same basic setup as any other radio that you get. You can go in and decide to if you want to scan the scan ad. Now that's one of the things. If you've got a frequency you don't want to scan, on older radios you'd have to plug it in and have it skip over that channel when you're scanning channels, especially if you've got something that's that's just putting out noise or whatever you don't want to hear. Boom. This one you can actually do that straight from the menu. You can just change it there. Okay. You got the menu exit time, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, so forth. You can change that. And you can change what it displays. Name, frequency, channel, whatever. And you can set that separate for each A and B. So that's a good thing there. All right. You can also, on your alarm, on your SOS alarm, you have the options of having it on site or send sound or send a code. I like mine on site. I don't want to be sending out a tone or anything else or noise at all. No. Okay. This does have a scramble feature, but the only thing really is with the scramble feature, you're probably going to need another radio that has the same feature. So you probably need two of the same kind of radio. So I never worry about using any of that stuff. And then, of course, it displays your firmware, your standard resets, all that. We'll have the other camera set up so that we can look at the screen when we do the power test on another video. Okay. Let's get that out of the way for a minute. All right. So, anyway, this is a good little radio. As I said, it's not, it's, you can see it's hand-sized. It's not big. It is a little bit on the thicker side, and of course, that's that 2600 milliamp hour battery. Now, I got this radio about 10 days ago, roughly, and I've charged it one time since I got it. It was fully charged. I just left it, messed with it, I programmed it, tested it, left it on during the day on the desk, then turn it off at night, but leaving it on during the day, and I've charged it up one time. So, having to charge it once in 10 days is pretty good. So, that is the JINGTONG 3988. We're going to look at power and SWR on another video, but it is a good radio. Comes with your basic accessories and even external mic. And at $40, it really is a good price point. It's not overly expensive. And it is fairly durable. Now, I believe let me double check this real quick. I don't want to say something and be wrong on it, so let me go in here. Okay, I don't have anything on. Okay, well that's. Okay, I'm just checking here real quick, everybody, on something. Because I cannot remember what I had here. Where's my comparison window at I usually have here? That usually tells me this stuff. Not have one. All right, so it does say on here that it is not water resistant. However, Most of the time when they say that, they're still IP54. So, I mean, you get a little splash on them, it's probably not going to hurt. Would I say let's go dance in the rain with it? Absolutely not. First of all, you're going to use if you want a waterproof radio, there are plenty of other options. But, you figure when you look at a radio like this, you figure automatically that it's IP54 at most. And that's the way I look at it. The way I review it is to say that it's IP54. Now, that all being said, it's still a good radio. Especially, you've got a good clear day. You want a radio that feels firm and sturdy in the hand, that's got a good feel to it, that's got power. It's a good radio. Now, a lot of times we hear people talk about, does power make a difference? And I know plenty of people, no, power doesn't make a difference. There's not much difference between 5 watts and 10 watts. Well, there's a lot of difference between 5 watts and even 8 watts and 10 watts when it comes to transmitting. Now, that doesn't mean that you need absolutely a 10-watt radio all the time. I mean, I've got a lot of 5-watt radios I use. Now, with the 5-watt radios, I can hit the local repeaters. The local repeaters are all within a 5-mile radius. So that means those radios are easy to hit. They're elevated. However, there are repeaters that are further away. And I'm talking 20, 30 miles. Now, of course, I'm kind of down in a weird spot. And a lot of trees, buildings, and stuff. So, being able to hit those repeaters on a 5-watt radio doesn't work. I listen to people on them, but I can't hit them. Now, with a 10-watt radio, or even an 8-watt radio, because I have an 8-watt we were testing this on recently, with an 8-watt radio, I can hit those repeaters that are 20, 30 miles away. So being able to hit those repeaters just opens up a whole different playing field. But it depends on what you want to do with the radio and what you want to hit with it. Like I said, links are all in the description. So if you want to get one, get one. Now, that's not an affiliate link. I don't get anything for it. I'm just giving you the link so that, hey, you know what, you like it, you can go get it if that's what you want to do. You don't want to get it, you don't have to get it. But if you do get it, I've also included the programming link so you can get the programming software. I'm really impressed with the radio. I like it. I don't have any complaints about it. If it was waterproof, of course, it'd be even better. But overall, it is a great little radio. It's even got an indicator light on the bottom to tell you when it's charged, unlike some other radios I have. It is nice to see that they're moving to the USB-C charge on everything lately. However, I want to say that on the other side of that argument, I'm also glad that it has that charging cradle. Because if I wanted to put this, if I wanted to put it somewhere and have the charging cradle, just because I don't want to leave it laying down, I want to be able to stand it up and let it charge, the charging cradle is a good thing. And I like those. I don't use them very often anymore. I've got a bunch of them plugged in over on one shelf, but I don't use them very often. Just because it's easy to plug in to a USB cord on a desk. But at the same time, if I wanted to change the setup or something, it's nice to have those charging cradles. Really, it is. Like I said, not every radio comes with them. A lot of the radios I've gotten lately, they are USB-C, but no charging cradle. So I end up plugging them in, laying them down, and then having to come back for them. Now, of course, the only other thing I would like to see for this radio would be maybe a separate battery that, for them to start selling a separate battery. And their website, their website may have separate batteries. I don't know. I don't remember seeing any on there, but if they do, that would be great as well. No, it does. Oh, well, maybe under accessories. I didn't look at. No, they don't have it. They do not. They do not appear to sell separate. A separate battery. But other than that, there may be places where you can find that. And if I find one, I'll go back and put it in the chat or put it in the description. The point is that it's a good radio, and I would recommend it. I really would. And there's a lot of radios I get that I do recommend, but of course, there's some that I've talked about before that I would not recommend. And some of them, I've had issues with. This one, I haven't had the problems with it that I've had even with some of the Radtels that I've had to work with. I like, I like Radtel. I make a lot of reviews on Radtel, but but this radio here hasn't given me some of the problems I've had with Radtel. This one here hits all the repeaters, no problem. For instance, with the Radtel 730, there were repeaters locally that I couldn't hit for a while. Now, that was an issue in the settings on the menu that had to be changed. But but you really don't have any guidance to that. You've got to just go through and look it up or mess around with it until you get it right. But every radio has its own quirks from time to time. Now, for instance, this the JINGTONG, like I said, hits all the repeaters and everything, and whereas, say, something like the 463, the Radtel 463, it does hit repeaters, but like I said, you got to adjust settings and stuff. And for a while, you couldn't tell if it was hitting a repeater just sitting here with nobody to respond to a test. You couldn't see if it was hitting the repeaters locally or not because it didn't give that little bit of feedback on the B side. However, it is working. It just for some reason doesn't get that feedback. It's great. It's a good radio and it works. This one here, when you're hitting the repeater for 1, for 2. It sounds great when you use it, and the return audio is great on it as well. And we'll do a video. We'll do another review on it where we can look at the power and where we can also listen to the audio on the receive. That's one of the things. We'll listen to the receive audio. All right. But like I said, if y'all like it, y'all interested in it, you can get your own, or if you have questions, put them in the comments. And when we do the next video, I come on, I'll do another video on this. I'll cover those questions as well. All right. Until then, everybody, y'all go out there, have a good day, and we'll be back with another live stream.